All right, we're live. Okay, what is going on, everybody? This is the GoatCast podcast. I am CW, joined again by my esteemed colleague BigNige. What's going on, BigNige, on this Tuesday evening?
Yeah, I'm good. Feeling a little under the weather, but mustered up the rest of my strength for the day to get this debate going.
Yeah, so today is the big day. We want to once again want to thank everybody for the 100 subs. We're now up to I think 108. So thanks to everybody and keep going. We're just getting started. And if this is your first time, please like and subscribe to the channel. We try to give you a new episode every Tuesday evening, and at least one of us give you a little something extra throughout the week. So make sure to check that out. YouTube's doing this weird thing right now, but hopefully it'll fix itself pretty soon. But we did promise you guys the GOAT debate once we got to 100 subs, and so today that is what we are going to do. We're going to make this 3 rounds so that we can both get in our information. First round will be facts of your prospective player. I'm of course Michael Jordan. He's doing LeBron James. So the first round will be facts. Second round will be our opinions of those players. And the last round will be a free for all kind of. We can go back and forth and try to make our final statement on who we think is the GOAT. So the caveat here is we will not mention the other player in the first 2 rounds. So we'll just talk about our respective player in those first 2 rounds. And then, we can throw darts at the other player in the third round. So with that said, I guess we should start with the older player. Oh, well, hold on. Let me get my timer because it's going to be 5 minutes each. Oh, well, before we get into that, is there any pressing, noteworthy things going on in the NBA right now or basketball in general, other than, I guess, the Rookie of the Year race for WNBA, which I think is pretty much a given right now. So anything else pressing?
Touching on the WNBA Rookie of the Year race, Angel Reese is again showing why she's very much, worthy of being in consideration for the award. I think Caitlin Clark still holds a pretty good advantage over her, but it's not like Angel Reese is some slouch. Like, she's putting up some great historic numbers, just like Caitlin Clark, and people need to give her flowers, man. That's all for real.
I wouldn't be mad at a Rookie of the Year. I know a lot of people don't want that, but I wouldn't be opposed to it because both have done tremendous things for the WNBA, and you got to think that they're bringing in eyeballs and they're doing this as rookies, and they're bringing in, great stats, both of them. So I would hope that neither one gets snubbed, but if there's got to be one, I think right now Caitlin Clark is the head of the snake if we're going to give her the top spot as Rookie of the Year. And Anthony Edwards said what he had to say. It kind of brought back we're done with the 90s stuff when he said that Michael Jordan was the only skilled player back then, and now everybody in the NBA is skilled. I did a video on that. I talked about that, and he said he started out by saying he didn't watch it. So, I mean, that pretty much made his comments invalid anyway, because if you haven't watched it, you can't really say who was skilled and who wasn't. So I think Ant-Man should have just been quiet on that one and just left it at that. But, any comments on that? Or
I mean, I don't really see where he went with that because, again, like you said he didn't see it. I think it was pretty funny seeing KG and Paul Pierce's podcast. KG's response, basically just telling the young player, like, just don't speak on it if you don't know the game. And then he was going in and, he was saying another interesting take where he was saying none of these current players could have played in the 90s. He was just saying they were like built different back in the 90s, like 20 plus years ago. these players are just too soft. They wouldn't be able to handle it. The locker rooms, the immaturity, people holding people accountable. You can't pat the rock like James Harden, Tatum at times. Like your teammates would like basically challenge you both on the floor and in the locker room. So that's definitely an interesting statement and definitely more to unpack in the future. But I thought that was the most interesting quote coming from, KG in response to Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, Magic had his things to say where he basically said, "You can't speak on it. I'm not responding to someone that's never won any championships," which is a little, that's kind of a low blow. I mean, he's still very, very young, so he's still got time to get him one. But yeah, Magic chimed in. So yeah, some interesting times. Are we done with the 90s? No. And speaking of the 90s, we are about to get into some 90s because we're going to get into the GOAT debate. So each of the 3 rounds will be 5 minutes. If you don't use up all your time, that's fine. If it gets to 5 minutes, we're going to cut you off. So, so I guess since Jordan is from the 90s, we're going to start with Michael Jordan. And we're going to start with the facts. And I've started my timer. So timer is going. So this should be self-explanatory. We all know, everyone in the world knows who Michael Jordan is. And we know he is undefeated. Facts. He's undefeated in the NBA Finals, 6-0, 2 3-peats. He is, 2 separate 3-peats. Just think about that. Who's done that other than maybe you could talk about Bill Russell, but Jordan, 3 in a row, left for a season and a half, came back, 3 more. He's got the highest career points per game in the regular season. He has the highest career points per game in the playoffs. 10 scoring titles has not been done. I think the closest is 7, and I believe that was Wilt Chamberlain. He's the first player to record 200 steals and 100 blocks in a season. That was 86-87 season. He's a former 1988 NBA Defensive Player of the Year, 14 NBA All-Stars. So he came in as an All-Star, left as an All-Star. Got my little cheat sheet, so reading off some of that. 2-time Olympic gold medal, 3-time NBA All-Star Game MVP, which is close to I think Kobe's got more, but he's number 2. He's part of that too. He was an NBA Rookie of the Year. He's a 2-time Slam Dunk Contest winner. First player to score 40-plus points in 9 consecutive playoff games, which is insane to think about. He's the only player to win NBA MVP, All-Star Game MVP, and Finals MVP in the same season. And he did it twice, 96 and 98. Now let's go through some of his overall stats, because everybody loves stats. So as a shooting guard, let's go over some of Mike's stats. He is points per game. Of course, he's first all time, first among shooting guards, obviously. Points per game in the playoffs, he's first all time, first among shooting guards, of course. Total points, he's 5th all time, second amongst shooting guards behind Kobe and that. Total points in the playoffs, he's 2nd all time, first among shooting guards. Steals per game, he's 3rd all time, 2.35, 2nd among shooting guards, only behind Alvin Robertson. Total steals, 3rd all time, 1st among shooting guards. Total steals, that's in the regular season. In the playoffs, 2nd all time. And 1st among shooting guards also. Field goals made, 4th all time, 1st among shooting guards. Field goals made, and that's in the regular season. In the playoffs, he's 2nd all time, 1st among shooting guards. Free throws made regular season, 6th all time, 1st for shooting guards. Free throws made in the playoffs, he's 1st all time and 1st among shooting guards. Minutes per game, 3rd all time, 1st among shooting guards in the regular season, and 1st all time in the playoffs. So, I mean, his PER. Right now he's sitting at 2nd because of Jokic, but for almost 20 years, he was the first in all time in PR. Of course, he's first among shooting guards. And Michael Jordan is the only player in NBA history to win the scoring title, MVP, NBA championship, Finals MVP, and be named to the All Defensive First Team. And he did that 4 times. Only player to ever do it. 6 Finals MVPs. He's got 5 regular season MVPs. The MVP is named after him. So, I mean, I think that pretty much says all that needs to be said. Those are all the facts. Jordan ranked first in almost every category. For a shooting guard, he was top 10 in almost all of those. The only things he wasn't was, I believe, blocks, which, I mean, he's a shooting guard. So back then, he wasn't going to block a ton of shots. And I believe like 3-point stuff like that. Michael Jordan wasn't a 3-point shooter, so he didn't take a whole lot of threes, of course. But, I mean, you can look at all of that and pretty much compile that Michael Jordan is the GOAT. That's my time.
Well, okay. That was very admirable. And I'll go ahead and get my LeBron stats out. And mind you, I just want to add, LeBron is still playing. And everybody, like I said, just like he said, everybody knows Michael Jordan. Everybody knows LeBron James too. So LeBron is a 20-time All-Star, probably about to be a 21 this upcoming season. 1-time scoring champ, 1-time assist champ, 20-time All-NBA, probably going to be 21 at the end of the season. Rookie of the Year, 4-time MVP. And he would have been the first unanimous MVP if there wasn't a bonehead out there who voted for Carmelo back in LeBron's 2013 season campaign. Speak more on that later. He's also a 4-time champ. Championship that includes beating the 73-9 Golden State Warrior team, which was the best team ever. That's a fact. You could say the 72-10, but 73-9 trumps 72-10. So beat the best team ever in one of those 4 championships. 4-time Finals MVP. First player to win a Finals MVP with 3 different teams. Got to put that out there. 6-time All Defense. There were some years that he didn't make it that you can argue he should have, but again, that's neither here nor there. And there was obviously a conversation. He has no Defensive Player of the Years, but 2013 again he's first team All Defense, but loses to someone in Marc Gasol who wasn't even on the first team All Defense that year. Again, you want to say this, that, and the third. LeBron should have a DPOY. I'll get into another season later when we get into these later rounds. But he should be a DPOY. He's not. That's fine. So in 1,492 games, he's averaged 27 points per game, 7.3 rebounds, 7.4 assists per game, 1.5 steals per game, 0.7 blocks, shooting 51% from the field, 35% from the three-point line, and 74% from the free throw line. He's the first player to win an MVP, Finals MVP, in-season tournament MVP, and Olympic MVP. And we're just talking in terms of stats, because even though the in-season tournament MVP is new and it maybe not a lot of people agree with it, as far as we know, it's staying for the foreseeable future. He is the first to do it, and there will be many more to come. He is the first. That is a fact, right? When we talk about peak Bron, we talk about, like, you want to say 2013, 2014. You could even go in 2017. I just want to throw some numbers out there just to show just how dominant LeBron James was and still can be. So in 2017, we talk about field goal percentage. We think of Shaquille O'Neal being one of the most dominant forces we've ever seen. In his best years with the Lakers, he shot 62% from the field. You want to take a guess at what LeBron shot in 2017? That'd be 66% from the field, right? We're talking about Shaq-like domination. All right, so then we go a step up. Let's go to the three-point line. One of the best shooter we've ever seen with our own 2 eyes, Steph Curry. His best in that playoffs, 46% from the three-point line. Guess who shot a percentage higher than him? That would be LeBron James at 47%. So we're talking about in the same postseason, this man, LeBron James, he was so efficient. He was more efficient than the most dominant player we've ever seen and more efficient from three than the best three-point shooter we've ever seen in our lifetime, right? Those things are facts. Right? We have all this, a culmination of what LeBron James is. He's not a score-first guy, but he continues to dominate every statistical category, including scoring. I don't even need to bring up the fact that he's the all-time leading scorer and still climbing. I don't even need to bring up the fact that he's probably going to finish somewhere in the top 5 in assists, somewhere in the top 10, 15 in rebounds. You know, all these things come together because of his all-around dominance. So as far as the stats go, the numbers speak for themselves. And I'll leave you with this last stat. Age 32 or older, the most points per game through 7 playoff games. LeBron James is the highest at 34.3 points per game. And again, that was in 2017, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. You just did make your 5 minutes, too. It was about to go off. So that will be round 1. I think if they're judging properly, I think if you look at Mike's numbers, you would go that way, but it's not for us to decide. But so now we're going to move into round 2, which is opinions. And I will start with, or continue with, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, this is opinion, is the greatest player of all time. Flat out. He changed the game so much to where it became global. Even with Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, that whole crew coming in the 80s, they started it. They laid the foundation, but Mike took it to a whole nother level. And just like we talked about Anthony Edwards saying he was the only skilled player during that time. Well, he was probably the most athletic player during that time. And he showed what an athletic wing, because back then the game was dominated by centers for the most part. He was one of the first wings to come in and really just dominate on both sides. He was a two-way player that could get it done. Scoring, he can get you 40 a night and play against the other team's best perimeter player. So, I mean, two-way. I was about to say the other person's name, but we can't do that. He was able, the older he got, he was able to transition into more of a jump shooter, a mid-range shooter, where his athleticism started to slip some. He was able to create one of the most, well, he didn't create it, but he was able to perfect one of the hardest shots to block or to contend with, and that's the fadeaway jump shot. So he was able to use his post moves, his footwork, and become an assassin from the mid-range. And doing this while also still guarding the other team's best perimeter player, especially in the playoffs. Mike guarded the best perimeter player on the other team more times than Scottie Pippen. People don't realize that, but out of their championship years, the 6 years they won a championship, 8 times LeBron had to guard the opposing team's best perimeter player, Scottie 7 times. So he wasn't just a scorer like a lot of people try to make him out to be. He was also a top-notch defender. Of course, he won a DPOY, so of course he was. He probably could have 8-peated had he not left after 93. I don't think that Rockets team would have beat them. You know, they would have had to make a few moves. No, those Rocket teams were not. They were Hakeem, and then who was after Hakeem? Nobody. So those Bulls, as long as they kept Horace Grant and the team intact, that team wasn't losing to the Houston Rockets. So that would have been, I mean, 8-peating would have just been, I mean, we wouldn't be having this debate right now if they 8-peated. So, but of course he left, came back, got 3 more. Best shooting guard of all time. If you heard the stats, he was number 1 or in the top 10 in almost, other than, I think, like I said, blocks and assists. I don't think he was in the top for those, but everything else, he was either number one as a shooting guard or in that top 10 range. He wasn't a bad 3-point shooter. Oh, my time is up. Okay. Well, all right. To make it fair, I'm gonna stop myself because I still had a few more left. But just to be fair, that's all of my opinions for right now. The free for all is no time limit, so I could throw some of that back in there.
Okay, yeah. So we're talking about opinions again. I still believe LeBron James is the GOAT. Obviously, his legacy is still being written. He's got more points to get, more assists, more rebounds, the whole shebang, right? But if we look at LeBron's career in its totality, we witnessed LeBron adapt and adjust and dominate in many different eras, right? He came in as a rookie back in like the kind of old school 2000s era where you have, 2 7-foot bigs, playing that slower pace of a brand of basketball. And we see LeBron, we see that he's a freak of nature. He can't be stopped going downhill, right? Both things that are still true to this day. And then we see in the 2010s era, now we're starting to see a little bit more shifting in the power forward position. That power forward position is starting to slowly turn into a stretch. And now we have everybody shooting the 3 ball up into the late 2000s or 2010s and then early 2020s. Obviously, the game evolved to a completely different league, a 3-point shooting league. And what does LeBron do? He's able to adjust. He's able to, get his 3 ball where it needs to be. He's able to shoot the midi. He's got the work in the post. We talk about in his peak, he can guard 1 through 5. He can guard bigs. He can guard point guards. We've seen clips of him chasing down Tony Parker back in that 2013 finals, right? And then we see him go and block Tim Duncan's shot. Like, he is the most versatile player we've ever seen, the likes of which you can't even say, a Magic. He's got more in his bag than Magic, right? He's got more defensive versatility than a Scottie Pippen, than a Dennis Rodman even. Like, LeBron is just that great with his versatility, his all-around dominance. I mean, you want to talk about the list of things going on. And on top of that, we have to also bring in coaching, right? I don't think LeBron's had a Hall of Fame level coach. We're not going to say the other person, but we have to put, and I say coaching not to discredit anybody that's coached him, but to his sheer basketball IQ. You guys have seen the clips where he can recite the other team's playbook. That's generational level talent. Like, even one of the people who played against your guy, Isaiah Thomas, called LeBron James the Einstein of basketball, right? And we've seen countless upon countless times of people, players, coaches raving about LeBron James' IQ. It's like no other. Even Magic Johnson says he thinks the game in a level that no other player can even comprehend, right? He's a basketball savant. We have all those things together, tied in with LeBron James' skill set. We have never seen a player like him. We never will see a player like him. You know what player we have seen like your guy? That'll be Kobe Bryant, right? He took your guy's game and made it better. We can't say that about my guy, right? And we talking opinions, so you can disagree, and that's fine. But I'm just saying, right? You want to talk about Jordan, right? Your guy. Tougher. I would say he had a tougher road to get to the finals, but I would say he had a cakewalk in those finals, right? Those Stockton, Karl Malone, right? You want to talk about the Supersonics with Gary Payton and the crew, all right? The Phoenix Suns, they were formidable, but they weren't nowhere near the competition that LeBron had in the finals. Now, to your man's credit, you could say LeBron had a cakewalk to the finals, right? We saw them teams he used to beat up in the Eastern Conference. We don't need to list them. Some of them were god-awful. Watching them tear up that Pistons team like butt cheeks. Not the old school Pistons team, but the 27 when they were like the 8th seed, 7th seed, when they just had no business playing against that Cleveland team. We understand that. But the finals competition, We'd never seen your guy play anybody like the 2017 Warriors, right? Not even close. That was honestly probably the greatest team ever assembled that rivals your man's 72-10 team, right? You can make that argument, right? They're putting that team in the conversation with the 01 Lakers, right? We get all that. We have the 07 Spurs, and I'm probably getting close to my time, but we understand LeBron's finals competition is by far greater than your man's, and that's why his finals record shows it.
Okay, you got it in there because you got 5 seconds left.
Yeah, I had to cut myself short.
But okay, so we heard that. We heard your opinions. We heard your facts. We got sports talk only in here. I believe he's a LeBron fan. So we'll see what he has to say. But okay, so first 2 rounds, we had your facts, we had the opinions. So now it's a free for all. So now no 5 minutes. We can go as long as needed to prove our point.
Appreciate you, sports talk only. Bron is the GOAT. Well, my guy.
Well, we're about to shut that down. But anyway, to your point, Kobe didn't do what Mike did better, because if that was the case, he would be called the GOAT. He didn't do it better. He took a lot of what Jordan did and tried to refine it and tried to put his little spin on it. But did he do it better?
Yes.
I don't think so. No. What did he do better than what Mike did?
We talking about a skill set. We're not talking about the accomplishments. We're talking about take MJ's game and make it better. Kobe Bryant did that. I think everybody can agree that Kobe Bryant did that. He increased the 3-point shooting, right? The bag in the mid-range game. He's got all of Mike's moves plus his own. Like, he took Mike's game and put it in Kobe Bryant's insane mental capacity. Like, there's no question he definitely made that better.
Nah, he didn't do anything Mike did any better. He did a lot more. Well, I won't say he did a lot more, but he did miss a lot more than Mike did. So he didn't do it better.
A lot of shots.
Exactly. Well, I mean,
yeah. I mean, so did, but who did he model his game after? A guy who takes a lot of shots.
Okay, but he missed a lot. So he didn't do it better. He should have a better.
We're not gonna sit here and act like MJ was making a whole bunch of those shots too. Like let's call it what it is.
But he was 49% for his career.
As much as you say Kobe misses, MJ missed some shots too. Now
he missed some.
We ain't going there.
Moving on. Just think of this: Mike played. Everybody wants to say he played 15 seasons. His second season, he broke his foot. Played, I believe, 18 games. So that's not even a fourth. That's not even a fourth of a season. Came back, went to the playoffs, did what he had to do. In, of course, 95, he came back 17 games. That's not a fourth of the season. So if you want to put his career into the proper timeline, he's had maybe 13 seasons altogether that he played.
So we're just going to discredit. We're just going to ignore the Wizards.
No, we're keeping the Wizards. We're just saying that time because his second season and in 95, he didn't have close to a full season. So I'm not counting that as a season. He had 17 games.
Why?
18 to 17 games. Them combined don't even make up half of a season. Okay, so say he has 14 seasons.
But why are we discrediting those seasons that he came back and played, even though he was coming from an injury?
Because he didn't play enough to really do anything.
But we can't discredit that if because
we're not discrediting that. But I'm not counting that as a full season.
So you just want to highlight the times where he was on top and he was being great.
No, I'm not. He was still good in those seasons, but he just didn't have a full season to get what he needed to get done.
But he came back and he lost to Shaq and them boys, but it's not a full season.
He had 17 games to get into after being out a year
But
and
you can't use that
60 something
against.
games.
But you can't use that to be like, oh, we're not going to count that because he came back. He chose to leave the game. He
Okay, and
chose
he
to
came
come back
back,
when he
but you
did
can.
it.
So that's a full season. So you count 95 as a full season.
I'm not saying it's a full season, but his choices. He decided to leave the game. He decided to come back when he came back.
Okay, I agree with that.
So
But
you
I'm
can't
saying,
like if he loses, he lost because of his own
yeah,
actions.
he absolutely lost. But I'm just saying, we can't say. I think it's wrong to say he played 15 seasons because he played technically 14. Because if you combine, was it 87? Was it 86, 87, something like that, and 95, then you have almost half a season he played. So then it's 13 and a half. Played 13 and a half years, won 6 championships in 13 and a half seasons.
It just sounds better when you say it like that, but it don't change the facts though.
Okay, well, you can 15, 6 and 15 isn't nothing to sneeze at. I
It's
mean,
not
that's still great. They pretty much
great.
ran the 90s until he left. Like while he was there, they were running the 90s. When he left, he gave somebody else time to eat. Whereas when we look on the other side, when we look at your boy, look how many people ate on his watch.
Okay.
Tim Duncan, Kobe,
All-time great.
F
All-time great.
F ate up a lot. KD ate
All-time
a lot.
great.
Kawhi Leonard.
Wait. You can't put KD and nah, because they're on the same team.
Well,
They joined,
won.
but think of it like this. Just humor me. You put two of those guys who probably top 15 overall talents. You can put them wherever you want in the career, but you can say Steph Curry is arguably top 5 best point guard ever. You can put him 1 through 5 wherever you put him.
Okay.
Kevin Durant was probably the second best player in the league at that time when he joined a 73-9 team. Like we're not going to sit here and act like they just was eating on LeBron's watch when they didn't just join forces to beat him.
And he had just joined forces with before that, he had joined forces with Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. He brought in Ray Allen, an older Ray Allen, but still a Ray Allen who could shoot.
But he was like 75 back then. He was a role player.
So was Dennis Rodman when he came to the Bulls, but everybody wants to say he was an all-star level when he came to the Bulls.
Because all he had to do was play. He played defense at an all-star level. That's all he had to do. It's not like he's getting shots on that team. MJ was taking 75% of their shots.
Okay, but still, everyone wants to call him all-star level when he was,
because that's what he did. He did what Draymond
that's what Ray Allen does. He shoots threes. All they needed him to do was shoot threes, and he did that for him.
Talking about Ray?
From Ray Allen, yeah. Okay,
on a very small.
So you can't play the he was old card because
he did not impact the Miami Heat team like Dennis Rodman impacted that Bulls team. Like, let's not go that far.
He impacted in that 2013 finals.
In that one moment, yes. But it took LeBron James bringing that team back within a shot for that shot to even matter. If LeBron doesn't bring them back, that shot, they're down like 10 points. He hits that big shot and nobody cares because they lose. But see, people don't think about that. Same thing with Kyrie's shot. LeBron goes on that run. He gets the game-saving clutch time block to keep the game tied so that Kyrie has a chance to put them over the top. Because he had the worst defender on him on the floor, which at that time was Steph Curry. Mismatches.
Okay. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Another point you did make, Jordan didn't play anybody in the finals, which is
I didn't say anybody. I said
you said that it was weak competition.
No, I said weaker compared to LeBron.
These are 60-win teams he was playing.
Now I know
they are 60-win teams. You only can play with who's in front of you. And
are you gonna sit here and actually sit down and put these words out your mouth that Jordan's finals competitions was in the same stratosphere as LeBron's? Are we really doing that right now?
Yes, because you can't say that they're just inferior, Because they didn't play in the same. It's not even the same era.
Who was
that
beating
they
that 2017 Warriors team or the 07 Spurs team? Which one of Jordan's matchups?
07 Spurs team wasn't even a good version of the Spurs.
Who's beating them?
Who's beating them from what? Jordan's from the people he played.
The people he played in the finals. Who was beating
that Phoenix Suns
the 2017 Warriors #1 and even the 07 Spurs? Like, who's beating them?
The Jazz. Jazz beat the Lakers. Kobe, Shaq, Lakers.
Did you just say with a straight face that Jazz team?
The Jazz team was good enough to beat some of those teams.
They had like 3 guys in like double digits. What are we talking about?
Who are you talking about?
That Jazz team with Stockton and Malone?
Yeah, if we're playing, it depends on what era we're playing in, what rule set, where we're playing at.
You do realize your boy, your favorite player of all time, Tim Duncan, would have gave them buckets.
07 Duncan was still 07 Tim Duncan was great.
He would have destroyed that team, huh?
No, see, y'all get into this where this team these teams are so great that these teams in the past couldn't beat them. If they were playing the rules back then, if things were different, the game was slower.
They were a slow-paced team. The Spurs' whole thing in 07 was execution. That was their calling card. They could play fast, they could play slow. It didn't matter. They had a system in place, and they had the greatest power forward to ever play the game in Tim Duncan.
They definitely did.
They had a young Manu, a young Tony Parker. They had a litany of them guys on that team that could defend at a high level, make shots, swing that one more. It was unselfish basketball. That Jazz team would have been a joke. They would have gotten demolished.
They would have made it some games anyway. But the fact of the matter is that the Chicago Bulls were the dynasty warriors. So teams weren't going to beat them. It don't matter who you had on the other team. They weren't beating the Chicago Bulls. They were just that good. So it didn't matter. The competition
was just that bad.
No, because they wouldn't got there if they were that bad or their competition was that bad. Like I said, for whatever reason, y'all get into your mind that these teams aren't as good as other teams just because, basically.
No, but think of it. Think of Jordan's struggles in the postseason, right? The Bad Boy Pistons, the Ewing Knicks. Right, you got the Reggie Miller Pacers and Larry Bird Celtics. You got all of them. He had to get through these teams.
Yeah, he did.
To then go play the Supersonics, the Jazz.
A 60-win team. What are you talking about? They won 60 games.
They were not that good, man. They did not match up. You could tell the match. They did not match up.
Tell me how they weren't that good. How were they not that good?
They did not match up with Chicago.
Just because you don't think they were that good. That's what everybody does. They're using the headcanon and just say they weren't that good. They won 60-something games. How many teams win 60-something games?
That team was not. Finals? Listen, man. We're really have look. All right. Can you name me a team out of that list of people that those teams that Jordan's played? Can you name me a team that's going to beat the 2017 Warriors? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Right. That's one.
Okay, but you said the 2017?
Yes, the 2017 Warriors.
Well, LeBron didn't beat the 2017 Warriors. So
Jordan wouldn't have beat the 2017 Warriors. Nobody would have beat that team. That team had literally a prime Steph and a prime Clay and a prime Kevin Durant with a prime Draymond. Like, that's 4 guys who probably are in the Hall of Fame in their primes. Who's beating them?
If the Bulls are playing in 2017, then their team's going to be comprised of a completely different style of game because they have to play
we're talking about as currently constructed. We're not going to reshape to fit eras. As currently constructed, give me any team that he faced in the finals, and the 2017 Warriors is destroying them.
Okay, well, that's a completely different game. So, of course, what do you mean? Refs are going to call it differently. It's going to be called differently.
But didn't you just say these are 60-win teams?
In their era, yes.
Deserve their respect?
Absolutely. They do deserve respect.
But they cower in comparison to
if you're playing when they could hand check and do things like that, they would have beat them boys up.
So we're talking about just hand checking and foul. Okay. So it depends on how the refs are calling it. Is that what
It
you're
depends
saying?
on what era you're playing in. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Because we're not going to discredit teams that made it to the finals. We're not doing that, because any team has a chance. If you're good enough to make it to the finals, you're a good or great team.
So you're saying that team LeBron had in 07, you think they had a snowball's chance in hell of beating that Spurs team? You trying to sit here and tell me that? Just because they made the
I mean,
finals?
they made it to the finals. So
No.
did
You didn't answer my
did
question.
anybody think the 2019 Toronto Raptors had a chance against the 2019 Golden State Warriors?
They were hurt. Huh?
Okay, so anything can happen.
No.
If
But
make
you
it to
know
the
good and
finals,
well if
anything
that team is fully healthy. Don't do that. Don't do that.
That's what it is. I mean, you play who's in front of you.
Oh my. Okay. Again, you have lost completely out of reality. You out of your mind. Okay.
But you can't give me a concrete. You're just saying, and we're not even going to talk about 2017 Warriors because they're just an aberration when it comes to teams.
But they show up on LeBron's loss record.
Okay,
So
they
does
do.
the 07.
07 Spurs. You keep bringing up the 07 Spurs. They were not. That was not even
He's 4-6 in the finals because he played two of the greatest teams. That Spurs team
07 was a great Spurs team.
The 07 Spurs team is one of the best teams.
The 07.
Yes.
I've never heard anybody say that.
They're not. I'm not saying they're top 5, but they're one of the best teams out there.
07, no.
But again, getting back to my point, just because that Cavs team made the finals by the skin of their teeth on the back of LeBron James, did that team have a shred of hope of beating that Spurs team? You're going to sit here and tell me yes?
Anything can happen.
No.
You got 7 games.
That's false. That's
games.
Completely false. You would not put any
so how
money
can he
on
be the
that
greatest
Cavs team.
if you have that little hope in your guy that you say there's no way that he could.
It was like his 4th or 3rd year.
So he's the greatest.
It's exactly why I'm saying he took that sorry Cavs team and put them against the Spurs. He still gets a finals loss on his record, for better or for worse, but he still got them there, and he had no chance of going and winning that final series. No chance. Not even a slight chance.
Okay, so that shouldn't that
bump him down? But you just said that any team in the finals can win.
Any team does have a chance. I mean, if you have a team that can score and that can play basketball, you can win a game. The Spurs beat the 2024 Spurs beat the Denver Nuggets. I mean, you can win a game.
Season, not the postseason. Come on, man.
Okay, well, I mean, that's what it is. You can beat another team.
Listen, my statement still stands. Jordan had a tougher time getting to the finals than he did winning the finals. LeBron had a cakewalk to the finals and a freaking death match when he got there. That's why Jordan's record, when you talk about his most losses were in the first round, right? It just so happened to be before Scottie Pippen got there and all that noise. Cool. I'm not going to sit here and bring the narrative that Scottie Pippen made Jordan, right? I ain't going to be disrespectful like that, right? Young players need time to get their reps in, right? But I can't say this. When LeBron was in the East, never lost in the first round. All right, I'm just gonna put that out there. Now you want to talk about
that's a fact.
You want to talk about older Bron when they lost? Okay, cool. He's like 35, 36, whatever. He lose whatever in the first round. That's cool. But when we talk about their peaks, when you talk about 13 and a half years, 13-0 in the first round. Okay, right? Your guy's 6-0 in the finals, and you can't take that away from him. But again, it's very indicative that LeBron is 4-6 in the finals because of that competition and because of that choke job. I won't act like he didn't choke against Dallas. He didn't play well. Right? We get that. If everybody wants to take him out of the GOAT debate because of one series, that's fine. Will I disagree with you? Absolutely. Players struggle all the time, right? But we also can't ignore that Jordan had got sent packing in the first round. And when we talk about his peak years, I'm just saying. Like,
what peak years did he get knocked out in the first round?
when didn't he average like almost like 40 something like his second or third season in the postseason? He still lost.
That was, I think, the 40s was when he played
I want to say that
93.
was his second or third season, but he averaged a lot of points.
Second season, that was when he was hurt. So,
but
yeah, that's when he came back
regardless
from
of
the
the point,
injury.
and then I'm gonna touch on coaching again because you got Phil Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
You could throw in Spoelstra, Ty Lue, throw them all together.
Mm-hmm.
Not even close to what Phil Jackson represents in terms of coaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could give you LeBron's other coaches. Again, not saying this to diminish them, but these other coaches, Mike Brown, Brendan Malone, Paul Silas, David Blatt, Luke Walton, Frank Vogel, Darvin Ham. I mean, that list just gets disgusting in my ears. When you compare them to Phil Jackson, say what you want about Phil Jackson as GM, probably the worst GMs or president of basketball operations I've ever seen in my life with the New York Knicks. But as a coach, definitely has a goat case. So coaching matters. You want to talk about everything in between?
Whose fault is that?
Coaching?
Yeah, I mean, Greg Popovich's been there since he's been in the league.
Okay.
I mean, does Greg Popovich have some type of vendetta against LeBron where he wouldn't want him to come play for him? Phil Jackson was there while he was playing. Why?
In what world does LeBron go to the Spurs to get coached by Greg Popovich when the Spurs don't have anything to go to?
Don't have anything to. I mean, if he wants to play with the Hall of Fame coach and a great coach,
yeah,
there have been great coaches in the stretch. He's played 21 years.
Okay,
there's been some great coaches. Why didn't he choose to go to a team that had a great coach? Why didn't he want?
Because there was no players on that team.
Well, I mean,
you would have a great coach and then LeBron.
He makes his teammates better, so they were going to get better if he came there. Which is another thing
you try to sit here and tell me, like, bro,
he makes his teammates better. That's what you guys say. That's what everybody says.
LeBron isn't Jesus Christ himself. Like, he needs help. He needs players that can actually do things on the basketball court. So you're saying get the ball from him and like what?
So if you're saying if he got with one of those teams, they would not put good players around him.
I'm saying to get LeBron there, you got to either have something in the works, like Cleveland did when they traded their draft pick and Andrew Wiggins to get Kevin Love. They already had Kyrie Irving. Like, they had stuff to attract LeBron. The Spurs had nothing to attract LeBron in those years that he could have joined them.
But even still, wouldn't a great coach want to coach or go to a team that LeBron James is on to help coach him, to help get him to a championship or get him to wherever they want to go?
I mean, Greg Popovich is a terrible example because he doesn't even want to coach his own damn team, let alone leave his team to go coach somebody else.
Well, I mean, Greg Popovich isn't the only coach. Like I said, Phil Jackson was there when he was playing.
Phil Jackson and LeBron have beef. If you don't know that, go look it up.
I mean, I've heard about it. I remember that happened, but
I'm just saying. You're giving me two coaches, but those two coaches, I mean, Greg Popovich respects LeBron, but he had no pieces to even attract LeBron or to keep him if they were to get him. That front office hasn't always made the greatest decisions outside of retaining Tim Duncan, Manu, and Tony, but you even saw them ship off Tony Parker for a box of rocks and some bag of chips.
That was old Tony Parker that couldn't do what he used to do. And you saw him in Charlotte barely do anything. But
I want to say with this before getting back to the finals competition, I'm just going to throw this stat out there for all those who want to listen. So MJ, Kobe, Duncan, who we just talked about, and Shaq have faced former MVPs 10 times, and that's all together. All four of these all-time greats 10 former MVPs they had to face.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron James faced 10 former MVPs by himself in the finals. 10 times.
I mean,
so
he went to 10. He's been to 10 finals. So
former MVPs, you got MJ, Kobe, Duncan, and Shaq together 10. So I mean,
but like
it gets to a point where if we're gonna talk about LeBron's final record being his biggest weakness, at some point context has to be brought to light, right? Because no matter what these people are going out there saying, you put Jordan on those same teams that LeBron had. Is Jordan taking out that 07 Spurs team by himself? Hell no, right? You want to put Jordan on that 2017 Cleveland team where it was just LeBron, no Kyrie, and it was Kevin Love and a bunch of role players? Hell no, right? Like what are we talking about? Like, we think just because MJ's 6-0 and he played some okay people in the finals, like what are we talking about? Like, it just makes no sense to me.
He played who was in front of him, and that's all you can ask any player to do. That doesn't make him less great because there's competition. He can't determine who comes to the finals from the West. He can't say I want Hakeem, and Hakeem just get there. He plays who's in front of him, and none of those teams were bad teams.
I'm not saying they were bad, but I'm saying they were not worthy of.
Okay, they're not the 2017
in the finals, and people like you and other Jordan fans holding it as like the law of like, yeah, he's the GOAT. He never lost in the finals. Man, put that 2017 Warriors against him, and I guarantee that unblemished finals record is getting blemished. He's not beating that team. In no era, no shape, way, or form, they're not beating that team ever.
I'm not going to say there's no way, but I'm saying
no
it would
way.
be a very difficult
game,
series for them to win. But it was a different game back then, so it wouldn't even. It would take some finessing for that to be even the right type of game because the game was so different.
Warriors in 6.
96. Warriors in 6. I mean, maybe. I'm not saying no, but we'll never know.
To get back to my last point, what I said in the beginning, in the first round, the whole DPOY thing. So I just want you to know, and everybody else, in 2009, LeBron, and I shout out Sports Talk Only, Warriors in 4. I ain't gonna go that crazy,
debatable,
but Warriors would definitely beat them. But anyway, 2009 LeBron had a better defensive rating and better defensive win shares than Jordan's 88 Defensive Player of the Year season. So the person that beat him obviously was Dwight Howard, who had a better defensive metrics, whatever you want to say. Cool. LeBron also put 35 in that series against Dwight Howard, the Defensive Player of the Year. But I'm just saying that because people say LeBron's defense wasn't as good as MJ's and all this stuff. LeBron could guard 1 through 5 in his peak. Yeah, actually, if you want to be technical, because I do have a stat out there, LeBron's 2 defensive peak seasons, 2011, 2012, and then 08, 09, better defensive ratings than MJ's 2 peak seasons, right? His peak is 97.3 defensive rating. MJ's in the 95-96, which is considered to be the best version of MJ, if not one of the best versions, 99.4, right? Then you have 99.8 in the 97-98 season. LeBron's at 99 in the 08-09 season. The same season that I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm just saying LeBron should have at least one DPOY. If you don't like that, man, argue with yourself.
I mean, maybe he should, but he doesn't. And is LeBron known for his defense?
Yes.
Do they call LeBron a two-way player?
What? Oh, okay.
I haven't heard it. I don't hear them say
LeBron's a two-way. You talking about prime LeBron wasn't a two-way player?
I'm saying, do the sports media? Does anybody? I never hear anybody say
you can't. But you can't use sports media because sports media is a bunch of agendas and narratives and a whole bunch of stuff. If they say MJ, they're going to pick that picture.
They want to paint LeBron as the GOAT. So
Like,
Put the
again,
clamp on
sports talk
Jokic. Who
only,
would do
again,
that?
preaching the gospel. Appreciate you. I mean, we saw what he did in the Olympics against Jokic at 39, 40, however
He
old
brought him for
LeBron
like
is.
2 minutes.
And like let's not act like peak LeBron wasn't like you said in that 2011, 2012 season when you said one of
Mhm.
the best performances in your eyes, you saw prime D Rose, as great as he is and
Yeah,
was. He
he
got
did
locked
take it.
down by LeBron James.
He
Locked
did.
down.
He did.
State penitentiary,
Okay.
right?
I'm not
Okay.
saying he's not a great defender, but he's not known as a two-way player.
Man, listen.
Like Michael Jordan was known
The
as a
narrative,
two-way player.
okay, stop. Okay, because let's just be honest about something here. And I want to make myself real clear.
Okay.
The guys that MJ was locking down, those guys were not all that, man. They were great when they, when they were able to get their shots off, like the skill level, man. I'm just saying, bro. The offensive creativity,
So
and
the fact
you
that they can
talk about
carry
the
now,
defense.
they can carry now. So that what makes them more skillful. They can carry the ball.
No, we're not talking about carrying.
That's
I'm talking.
that's what they
Okay,
do
but
now.
think of it like this, right? If we're talking about how the refs ref the game, right?
Mhm.
When Jordan was he was allowed to do whatever he got away with bloody murder when it came to guarding those people. Like, let's not act like how the refs called it today's game and how they call back when Jordan was playing.
'Cause that's what
It would be night and day. Like, Jordan would have 4 fouls in the first 3 minutes of the game, right? Like,
that's just the changing of the game.
but you're saying the narrative is that MJ is a two-way player.
Mhm.
My argument is how is LeBron? What has LeBron shown in his peak that he wasn't a two-way player?
He has. I mean, how many all defensive first teams does he have?
That's a media-driven award. NBA players all the time.
So
That
you
is a
think
media-driven
the media is
award.
against LeBron? So you think all these?
No, I'm not saying they're against LeBron, but like, you don't get your just flower if you are okay. MJ was widely known as a defender, right?
Yes.
Right. But some of that, just like Kobe's all defensive selection teams, that was based off his reputation. That what he wasn't MJ was not locking down like that for what, nine times all defensive. And then Kobe's
Mhm.
I think Kobe has more than LeBron too at like 7, 8. He might have close to 9 as well. But like, we're
I
not
think
sitting
they're
here
all tied.
saying 9 straight times in 9 seasons was Kobe and MJ both all defensive. That's baloney. There's no way.
I said as someone that didn't watch full seasons. I watched full seasons of Michael Jordan and
And you
Kobe
saw him
Bryant.
getting absolutely baked by people. Absolutely cooked.
When he guarded point guards, yes, he did get cooked.
Absolutely baked. But he's all defensive. That I'm just saying.
I don't see LeBron guarding point guards.
At 39, no. But back when he in his peak, he was guarding D Rose, Russell Westbrook,
He
Tony
would guard
Parker.
them
He was guarding all those point guards whenever the game needed to.
For a small amount of time.
Because he doesn't need to guard them 24/7. They bring the ball up and go up and down. You got LeBron doing all the point guard duties as well. Like, nobody has that much energy to carry the team offensively and guard the best player 48 minutes. That's not even MJ has that much energy. As great as y'all think of him, he doesn't have that much energy. Nobody does.
Well, he can't do that and be scoring 40 points. No. Nobody.
But I'm just saying, we talk about the all defensive selections. That is a media-driven award. We both know that you want to take their peaks defensively. At the minimum, you can call it a wash. You can't say Jordan's an astronomically better defender than LeBron James, because LeBron James, as good as Jordan is on ball, LeBron is the best shot blocker, chase down shot blocker in NBA history. There's no argument. There's no argument. You want to talk about him being a two-way player? He's known for literally letting defenders go by him just so he can punch their shots off the backboard.
Okay. So that makes him just as good of a defender as Michael Jordan?
What I'm saying is they're doing it in different ways. LeBron can get in the chair and lock down just like MJ. right? MJ can block some shots too, right off the backboard, 2-hand snatched off the backboard. We've seen that.
Through
But I'm just saying, I don't
young
like
Tim Duncan shot.
but I don't like the narrative that MJ is just this astronomically better defender than LeBron when that's not the case at all.
If you say so, but as we know, he is a former defensive player of the year. He's a 9-time all defensive
And
first
LeBron
team.
should have been a defensive player of the year.
Should have. And
How okay,
I should have won the lottery, but it didn't happen.
All right, then explain to me this. How does somebody on the second team beat somebody who made all first team on defense? Does that even make sense?
I don't know. That's
Marc Gasol.
But you should watch. I think content creator Scap Attack made a video on that, and it pretty much is very good. It explains why Marc Gasol was chosen as defensive player.
I don't give a damn what Scap Attack says or
I
however
mean,
you say his name.
if you use numbers and stats, then
Did you watch that season? I know I watched that season.
I watched the season.
I was 13 years old when that season. I watched every dribble of LeBron James that year. There was no player in the NBA better.
But you didn't watch Marc Gasol. You didn't.
I did watch Marc Gasol. I didn't watch every dribble of him. No, who? All right, you gonna tell me a 13-year-old is gonna watch every dribble of Marc Gasol?
I mean, that's the only way to properly compare their defensive impact.
He was nowhere near the defender of LeBron. Don't even. Marc Gasol was solid. He was phenomenal for that team. But to say he was in the same stratosphere when he didn't even make all defensive first team, that's ludicrous.
I mean,
but people like you want to say, "Oh, LeBron didn't win a DPOY." Brother, he should have. That's point blank, period. He should have.
Mike should have won.
You lose to a guy on the second all defensive team when you made all defensive first team. Makes no sense.
I mean, that's if you look at the numbers, Marc Gasol deserved what he got.
He deserved second team. He should not have gotten the defensive player of the year if he was on the second team. That don't even make sense.
I mean, I agree. That doesn't make sense. But at the same time, if we break it down, he made more of an impact for his team than LeBron. I don't know why he was put on the second team. That's a media-driven thing. So the media got that wrong, maybe. But
it's just no way, bro.
If you crunch the numbers, Marc Gasol actually made more of an impact that year for the Grizzlies than LeBron did. So
you're gonna have to get drug tested after this video. You and everybody else who thinks like that.
You can. Numbers are out there. Numbers don't lie.
You guys show me what's in that water bottle right now. You guys show me what's in that water bottle, dog. Because there's no way, bro.
Numbers do not lie. Numbers do not lie. Because Mike could have won Defensive Player of the Year more, but he didn't.
He didn't win it in 2009 because he went against an all-world Dwight Howard's defensive campaign, which even as great as LeBron was that year, there was no way he was beating Dwight Howard. I'll give you that. Even though he had better stats than your boy MJ, that's cool. Okay. But 2013, no excuse. That's something that is going to go down in history as one of the biggest dumbfounded mistakes I've ever seen in my entire life.
I mean, maybe so, sports talk, but he didn't win it. So, I mean, Jordan could have won 2 more MVPs if they just went by the criteria they were going by, but he didn't. He could have won more defensive player.
He could have said the same thing about Bron. He could have won multiple more MVPs, but they chose not to give it to him. Next.
Well, he has something in common with the GOAT. But listen, I'm going to say this. I'm going to just say this. You can go back and forth with numbers. You can go back and forth with this longevity. Team was this. You can go back and forth with longevity. That night in Cleveland at the All-Star game when they announced the top 75 players, I believe that was, in LeBron's home, his home state, is where he grew up, where he came from.
Media stunt.
He gets a lesser ovation than the guy he's supposedly much better than, or I won't say much, but better than Michael Jordan
You
came
do
on.
realize they're salty, right? Like
Who
fans
saw?
can still be salty. Cleveland, he left them after winning them a championship.
And all the times that Jordan crushed their dreams, the Cleveland
I mean, that
Cavs.
was what, almost 30 years ago?
Okay, but still, wouldn't you have something against him for beating your home team?
No.
I mean, even still, Michael Jordan, he had the loudest applause in the All-Star game. Who you talking about, LeBron? Because no, I was watching live in here, and he didn't get a bigger applause than Michael Jordan when they announced the players.
Debatable.
I mean, if the people admire you more, then you did something right. That's all I have to say. And it's a proven fact. If you want to, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but Jordan's peak was slightly better than LeBron's peak. That's a proven fact. I don't have the numbers right
but
here.
then hear me this. Then if you say that his peak, if we're talking about peaks, right, and you say Jordan's peak is slightly ahead of LeBron's, right?
Yeah.
What does that say about the longevity of LeBron's career? Right. At this point, it comes down to what do you prefer? Do you prefer 13-ish seasons of Michael Jordan, who at his peak, you could say arguably a little bit better than LeBron? Or do you take 20 seasons of 25, 7, and 7? Can play 1 through 5, can guard 1 through 5. He can get you 10, 15 rebounds and get you 10, 15 assists. He can get you 40 points. He can do everything that is required of him. You cannot say the same thing about Michael Jordan. He can score a lot of points. He can play the heck out of some defense. But when you talk about triple doubles, you talk about anything that the game could require, MJ is going to try to do it himself. LeBron is going to use his teammates to a fault. Yes, LeBron will use his team, even if it means giving D'Angelo Russell the ball in the corner after he's done brick 5 straight threes. The best basketball play, the correct basketball play, is to continue to give him the ball he's open to instill confidence in your team. MJ, he sees his teammate miss a couple shots, he's going to cuss them out, and then he's going to look them off and continue to shoot that thing and try to will his team his way.
Is that not his role on the team?
He is a scorer. That
was his role. So that's what he's supposed to do.
There was no other instance. Because again, it's hard to compare the two. It's at that point you're splitting hairs. But it says a lot for me. LeBron's longevity, he's going to play 20-plus seasons. We're never going to see anything like this ever again. And I agree. Jordan's peak was not better than LeBron's.
I mean, it's been proven.
I'm just giving him a.
I don't have the numbers, but it's been proven already that they were his. But like I said, I don't have the numbers right here in front of me.
Because it just goes to show you this LeBron's longevity. We have never seen anything like it, and we never will.
Okay, I mean, I'll give him the longevity check and stamp of approval, but that does not make him the greatest player of all time.
Why not?
That makes him. It just means you can play longer than other people.
Doesn't that deserve to be in the GOAT conversation?
It can, but what is the main goal of any athlete?
To win at the highest level.
Okay. Well, if you don't win as much as other people at the highest level.
But you can't make that argument because Bill Russell won more at the highest level than almost anybody. He's not the GOAT.
Well, he can't be. I mean, you can make him.
No, but he's not in anybody's GOAT list because
he is.
It's how it's going to be. No, it's how it's going to be for them.
But you have to add.
The more time passes on, Jordan is going to get treated like Bill Russell. It's just the fact.
It's been 20 years and he's still mentioned.
I promise you, the next generation is coming. They're going to see less and less of MJ and more of LeBron. And as time goes on, everybody's going to start, because even LeBron's constituents right now, people who even played with Jordan and Bron, they're saying LeBron is the GOAT.
Just because he's played longer.
It's not
So
about
that's
who
what.
played longer.
So
It's
if
about
Michael
it's
Jordan's
about the
winning
narratives
percentage
that are coming
is
out
higher,
there now.
hmm?
It's about the same things that everybody should say about Bill Russell, Kareem, all them. They're going to get eclipsed by the next generation. People are not thinking old school mentality. They see what's in front of them. They're not trying to look backwards.
But
So you can make all this noise about MJ now, but I promise you, in 20 years, the next generation, all they're going to see is Bron.
Jordan shoes are never going to go away. Does LeBron shoes sell as much as Jordan shoes?
No.
Okay.
But that's reputation.
He's made it. He's imprinted himself on the game.
He's imprinted himself on the game, but I'm telling you,
it's not going to go
20
away.
years down the road, the same people, you and me, making this argument, it's going to be less and less because people younger than me, I'm telling you, there's countless people. You can go and look up many videos. Who's the GOAT? All these young kids are saying LeBron James. You think when they get older, they're going to change their opinions?
But when LeBron leaves, then Michael Jordan's name will still be there. Michael Jordan's name has been there for over. Kareem's name left almost a few years after he left,
right?
Because Mike came and Mike did his thing,
right? And Mike retired, but he retired in Washington. What, like 03, 04?
He's been gone for over 20 years.
Exactly.
And his
my
name
point.
is still brought up every single day.
Yes, he's brought up now. 20 years removed. You add another 20 years.
So Kareem didn't get 5 years really before his name.
Because Kareem was never the poster child of the NBA like Mike was, or Bron. Right? You get talked about more. You get put in these conversations more. Everybody else gets fizzled out because you're really only talking about one or two guys. It's either 1A, 1B. Who you got? What do you like more? My point in that is saying is that in 20 more years, when LeBron is retired, when MJ's name is now faded history, people are not going to continue to look back in the past. They're going to stay in the future. They're going to stay right here in the present.
Why are they still looking in the past now?
They are doing that now. They're doing it right now. But you're going to tell me 40 years removed, you're going to say they're going to still look at MJ?
Why wouldn't they?
Because that's not who they grew up on. It's what I'm telling you. You grew up on MJ, so you're going to defend your boy. But what happens in 10, 20 years when the people, all they saw was LeBron James, and they saw LeBron fade out into the twilight, right? But they see LeBron still putting up these crazy numbers, doing all these things. MJ, y'all's fan group, y'all are done. Y'all are cooks. I'm just saying, y'all are cooks.
We were cooked. We would have been cooked 10, 15 years ago.
I give it 10, 20 years tops, and it's going to be no more. Time moves on.
When we talk about Wemby, and LeBron will be out of the discussion.
Wemby
but
ain't
still
the
highest the highest level award.
They're gonna be talking about Wemby versus LeBron. Not you right. Wemby versus LeBron.
No,
ain't gonna be
talking
MJ
about that. He's gonna prove
he ain't gonna be
that's
MJ.
Not even a proper.
He's gonna get fizzled
comparison.
out.
You can't even compare those two. No, I highly disagree with you because 20 years have passed, and every single day, that man's name is still brought up.
Not every single day. I think every single day. That man you're referring to is LeBron James. He's been brought up every day since he got drafted into this league, and he will continue to be talked about when he leaves this league. Because
who is he compared to? Who is he? Who does he have?
He's in the class. As far as I'm concerned, he's in the class by himself. You really can't compare these two. It's good for video. It's good for topics, but if we're really breaking them down, they're not alike in any way. You can't compare them because they play the game in two different ways.
I agree with that. They play in two different ways. One played and won. The other one played and doesn't win. So
no. What you MJ fans love to do is you guys, as great as as neutral as you guys try to stay, and you say, oh, this generation, you're soft, it's weak. When in reality, it's how the refs are reffing the game. It has nothing to do with the players. The players would walk your generation, walk them top to bottom in that league, would walk y'all. Yeah, the players today would dominate y'all. Most of y'all players couldn't even go left.
Because y'all can carry the ball. I can dribble left if I can carry it every time.
I'm just saying, you go back and look at it. Some of them old school players, they couldn't go left. All they could go was right. You know, I'm just saying.
I mean, shooting the ball is shooting the ball. And breaking
the ball is the same thing too, because MJ wasn't no 3-point shooter. That's besides the point, though. I'm just with it. Though.
MJ said he could have easily become a 3-point shooter, but
why didn't he? You said the same thing about LeBron's DPOY. Why didn't he become a 3-point shooter? Reggie Miller was still in the league. He was shooting the ball.
Because that wasn't his role on the team. They had roles.
But it's not his role. But the guy who was busting his was shooting threes.
Who?
Reggie Miller was one of the best 3-point shooters ever.
That was his role. That's what they wanted. He was a 3-point. Every team had a 3-point specialist.
Why couldn't MJ develop his game to a 3-point shot? Why do you have to rely on Steve Kerr?
Because that wasn't his role. That wasn't what his bread and butter was.
Why couldn't it be his bread? He's the GOAT, right? Why is it not his bread? Why does he have such a glaring flaw on the 3-point line? I thought he was the GOAT.
If he was playing, his 3-point percentage is not terrible at all. He just didn't take them.
Why not? Are you nervous?
Because that wasn't a part of his game.
But why though?
LeBron didn't take him.
You're telling me he's the GOAT, I'm giving you a glaring weakness. It's shooting.
LeBron didn't shoot him until it became popular to shoot threes.
And what did he do though?
Because everyone's shooting them now. Because he refined his game and he started shooting them. That never came into the 90s. Nobody was shooting threes like that, except your 3-point specialists, your Reggie Millers, your John Paxsons, your Steve Kerrs, Mitch Richmond to a lesser degree. Those guys, that's what they were out there to do, shoot threes. Mike could have done. Mike could shoot them.
You're giving me excuses why your man, who's got the greatest work ethic of all time and doesn't like to lose, can't shoot threes.
He didn't have to. He never went to a game 7 in the finals. He didn't have to
say, man. All that GOAT talk is cool, but I'll meet you at the rim because
he averaged 40 points outside. He averaged 40 points in the finals. Didn't shoot threes.
Hey, man,
did your boy do that?
That just shows how weak the competition was, man. You could average 40 all layups. Couldn't be this generation. I can tell you that much. All layups.
All you do is shoot three. I mean, in this generation, he would have so many buckets. It's crazy with the space he would have to work with. That man would average about 60 points.
I mean, it sounds good, but if you can't shoot threes, we loading up in that zone.
Oh, you
couldn't play the defense that we play now, right? You couldn't zone up back then. It was illegal defense. Couldn't zone up. So I'm just saying, like, you put Bron in MJ's era where they can't load up. Bron averaging 40, dog. 40.
But there was no defensive 3 seconds, so
40. Bron averaging 40.
LeBron is
40.
I don't want to say what I was going to say because I'm gonna leave that alone because I'm not even going to do your.
And Bron shoot the 3 too. Bron can do everything. Like, that's what y'all don't understand, man. Bron can do.
He can do everything but win. That's what you want to say.
See, but I mean, okay, then give him that competition that MJ got, and I guarantee you he's 6-0. Hell, he probably even 10-0. Shoot, give him 10 tries against them sorry watered down people, and you give him a front office like the Bulls, and you get a team that's actually like built around him. Shoot, 10-0.
Oh, speaking of that, I forgot to bring that up. Speaking of build a team for LeBron James teams have traded 118 players and first-round picks. So if he's so great, why do we have to trade like 5 teams worth of players to get him the right players around him? While Michael Jordan,
the talent in the league ain't watered down. You know what I mean? It ain't that weak, watered down bull crap.
You got to play with 5 All-Stars to make it to the play-in. Just about.
Yeah, because the Bulls just went and traded and got those All-Stars. I mean,
who they trade for?
It's the same thing.
Who they trade for?
I said they got Rodman. They drafted Pippen.
Free agent.
Okay, but they still brought him in, right?
When nobody wanted him after Hakeem had just cooked him in the NBA playoffs.
Horace Grant, they got him.
through the draft.
Okay, so what I'm saying is his team was competent. His team was able to find good players and put them around LeBron. Can we say that about Cleveland? Yes or no? Can we say that about Cleveland?
So this is what we're going to go
is
to.
Is their front office competent enough to bring good pieces around LeBron James? Yes or no? Did they display that? No.
I mean, I would say no, but
okay. So with the league being as talented as it was, and it was continuing to get better, LeBron wasn't going to sit there on his hands and just let his career just waste away in Cleveland. It wasn't going down like that. He was called the chosen one. He had all these expectations. He had to do something because clearly Cleveland wasn't trying to help him out. Call it what it is. You can say any this, that, and third, but
Cleveland
the reality is he had to leave because Cleveland was not going to put a championship team around him.
Thank you, Cassius Clay.
I agree. Yeah, I'm not even going to repeat that. That need drug test immediately.
Let's highlight this. Let's show this.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. And I mean, it's cool. I mean, whatever you're sipping on, you probably got it from him, and y'all probably both need to be drug tested after this show. It's just that crazy to me. But cool.
Then again, Michael Jordan team traded only 35 players throughout his entire career.
That's what you call a competent front office and an incompetent front office. That's all that is. That's all.
So, okay, all right. Well, I mean,
I'm just saying though, like you're telling me all these trades that they made, and that's cool. I hear you, but
why do you have to trade so many players?
Is LeBron like threatening these front offices to make these trades? Is he gonna strangle them? Is he gonna beat them up? Like what are we talking? These are grown men making these decisions. They don't have look. There you go, sipping on whatever that is, because it ain't water, America. That ain't water.
Water.
That ain't water, man. He's trying to fool y'all though. Because the way he's talking, it can't be water that's in that cup. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Straight water. Just like Mike's jumper.
Yeah, okay. Inside the 3-point line, maybe.
Okay.
Definitely, we sitting out there outside.
He's still 10 scoring titles. 10 scoring titles without being a 3-point shooter.
Yeah. Against
still
defense.
Still holds the highest
terrible defense guarding them.
Per game average for points.
They can't even play zone against him. Like it's 1-on-1. That's what he built his game for. 1-on-1 play. Because
the fact that he didn't shoot threes should make it harder for him. Since
how if he can play 1-on-1 all game, how is that harder for him?
Because
they can't play
zone. Have to shoot over a zone. That's how you beat a zone.
But there is no zone in that era.
So
it's 1-on-1. So it's easy. That's easy because it's 1-on-1. He literally puts his back to the basket, has one of the best post games to ever seen with your own eyes.
When did he start using the post game?
After he lost a step.
Okay. So before then, 91, 92, 93, 93, where he averaged 40 points in the finals. Yep. Was he posting up?
No, he was going right by everybody. And was there any help defense? No, there was no help.
But there was no defensive 3 seconds. So the big men were packing in the paint.
The bigs were slower, unathletic, uncoordinated.
No, we ain't gonna go there.
I'm going there because if you're going to talk about a big, there were a bunch of Rudy Goberts out there, just stiff, tall,
defensive player of the year.
Bigs. No, defensive nothings.
Defensive player of the year.
No, the disappointment player of the years. That's what all they were. All them centers. Disappointing.
So you're saying David Robinson.
I'm talking about
Patrick
Ewing. Talking about Luke Longley-esque bigs that were just sitting down there collecting checks.
That's who he was playing.
They weren't doing nothing.
That's who he was playing in the playoffs.
Who?
He was playing Luke Longley centers.
I'm saying outside of the great. I'm saying outside of Ewing and them boys, like Alonzo Mourning, I get you. I'm not saying all of them were trash.
Shaq.
But who did he play in the finals though? What great bigs did he play in the finals?
Vlade Divac.
All right. Y'all heard it here first. Y'all heard it here first. He's clearly drinking something that's not water. America, please. He just said
Vlade Divac
is a great big that MJ played against. I'm not hearing it, bro. All I hear is Nikola Jokic, Tim Duncan.
He's never beat Nikola Jokic, so
he had to play like what?
He can't beat him.
Who hasn't beat Nikola Jokic? Who?
I mean, he hasn't.
He beat him in LA. Try again.
He beat him when?
Tried it, though.
What?
In 2020.
What 2020? Oh,
yeah.
He got
him through that boy.
Yeah, of course the
he
bubble.
did him real dirty too. You can go back and look at the footage now. He did him real dirty in 2020.
Well, what did he do to him in 2023? Swept him off the court.
I mean, he did beat him in 2023. Did you see what his third best player was doing
with AD?
I mean, look, teams. It's all about the team at the end of the day.
AD's like what, number 3, 4 all-time PER. You have 2 of the top players, most efficient players in the world on your team.
It's a team sport at the end of the day. And again, we're comparing this. A 39-year-old LeBron James is still in the he still has expectations. He still has expectations to win it all.
MJ was about to get
MJ was just sitting back there getting numbers on butt cheek Wizards teams. Butt cheeks.
They would have been in the play. They would have done just as good as these last.
No, they would not have. They would have
been in the play-in both years.
Denver would have beaten them by 30 plus every game. Every game. If Denver played that star Wizards team, 30 dubs.
Did you see who the Wizards team had?
Bums.
Wizards Jordan was horrendous. Watch it again. Watch him play again.
Butt cheeks.
Watch him again.
He would.
You're saying 2001 Wizards Jordan was butt cheeks.
Yes, butt cheeks.
Did you?
He would, compared to the version
y'all didn't even watch them. He didn't even watch him play.
Like, what are we talking? You think that Wizards team would have beat the Nuggets? Yes or no?
No, but did you see who was on his
team?
Okay,
that's exactly all I'm saying.
If he had an Anthony Davis on his team, yes,
no,
they could have. If he had an AD on his team, yes, he would have.
Again, you need to be drug tested immediately. That's insane. If they gave MJ the same level of expectation that they gave LeBron, you know how different his career would be?
So right? He had no expectation.
They would have called his last couple seasons with the Wizards failures. That would have dinged his legacy, right? But Jordan fans like you dismiss the Wizards altogether. They don't take into account in the conversation.
Why did he come back?
Why did he come back?
Mm-hmm.
To stink up his resume, I guess. That's all he did, in my opinion.
He wanted to sell tickets because he had just become a part owner of the Wizards.
The worst owner of all time, might I add.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not. And yes, he donated his whole contract, his money, to the victims of 9/11.
That's true.
So he was coming back because they wanted him, they needed him to come back to sell tickets, because who was going to come see the Washington Wizards at that time when they changed from the Bullets to the Wizards? Who was coming to watch them? Who was coming to watch Kwame Brown?
I mean, that's who's on his team. That's who would have been guarding Jokic. Barbecue chicken alert.
I mean, yeah, but Jordan still had them in. They were, I had it up before, but they were like a 20-win team, something like that the year before. He had got them on pace to make the playoffs before he got hurt.
Oops.
And this was old man Jordan.
Oh, but old man LeBron don't get a pass. He's got Anthony Davis on his team. He's supposed to beat Nikola Jokic, who's the best player in the NBA.
If you have 2 of the top players currently in the NBA,
I mean,
you should. When you have Nikola Jokic with not even one All-Star on his team.
Stop the cap. Jamal Murray definitely can play like an all-star. Let's stop the noise, man. Just
y'all just be making
Jamal Murray. He carried Jokic in the fourth quarter. He carried him in the fourth quarter
because their system.
The last 5 minutes of those games, he literally carried him in the fourth quarter. Like,
where was he?
What are we talking about?
So why, when he played on Team Canada, was he a no-show?
Because he's inconsistent. That's his thing. He's inconsistent. He played terrible up until like 3.5 quarters of the game in most of that series against the Lakers. But he had a stretch in the last 5 minutes of the game. He was the best player on that team, better than Jokic.
So now Nuggets have a super team. The Nuggets have a super team.
I'm not saying they're a super team. I'm
compared
saying they're a
to
really good team that's actually fleshed out and built around each other's strengths. You can't put non-shooters around Anthony Davis and LeBron James and expect them to dominate because we've already seen them with a winning recipe. They have to have shooters around them. They're not guarding D'Angelo Russell because he can't shoot under pressure. They're not guarding Austin Reeves because he's not that great of a three-point shooter, right? You put people around him who can't shoot, they're going to pack the paint, where AD and LeBron James are very effective. But if you put non-shooters around them, they don't look as good and they can't dominate to the same degree. It's just facts.
okay, we got it. Well, let's reel it back into because we're talking about Denver Nuggets and
Hey man,
the point.
Saying,
the point of this whole thing is that Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. He's proven it.
In your opinion,
if you've heard the numbers, if you heard the opinions, I didn't get through all my opinions, and not to mention has his jersey retired on a team he didn't even play for that he cooked. They retired his jersey. So if that doesn't tell you he's the greatest player of all time, I don't know what will. So that's all I got to say.
LeBron's the GOAT.
Great. LeBron's my number 3.
MJ is solid. He's a solid 1A, 1B, whatever you want to put him. But Bron is definitely the best. Because we're talking about someone who hasn't even finished his career. Let that sink in. He's so relevant.
You better finish it soon, or
he's so relevant that it takes people who
the Wizards
aren't even done watching his career to say he cannot pass somebody else. That's crazy to me, but whatever. I got LeBron as
pass nobody.
I got LeBron as a GOAT. We've never seen anything like this. We've already seen another MJ, and that was Kobe Bryant. God rest his soul. But we're never going to see another LeBron James, and that's why he's the GOAT. Nobody will ever do what he can do and achieve what he achieved. He'll hold all the records damn near at the end of his career. So nobody will ever come close to LeBron James because he's one of one.
And still have a worse winning record. He can hold all the records he wants to, but you got to win in basketball.
I mean, when you play a bunch of bums and nobodies and go 6-0, I mean, it's cool. It sounds good.
Bums and nobodies.
It sounds good. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, it sounds good to y'all, but the reality is those teams got there, and they just couldn't get done.
Still get destroyed by the 2017 Warriors. All right.
I mean, a lot of teams will get destroyed by the 2017 Warriors, so
including that Bulls team. Oh yeah.
Nah, we ain't gonna go there. But anyways, thank you guys for coming in here, listening to us babble for over an hour and a half. I've definitely got to get some dinner in me and get this night over with. It's 10 o'clock, but I think if you listen to all of this, you'll know who the GOAT was or is. And I think
Ron James, the name's right there. You can see it. It's right there. Y'all can
Jordan
see it.
right over here. So if you listen to it, please let us know who you think won, who's the greatest of all time. I did a poll on my other channel, GoatCast Hoops, and your boy didn't do too well. Only got, I think, 34% of the vote. 66% said Jordan. So I mean, and this wasn't a small sample size, so but let us know in the comment section who you think won, who you think is the GOAT, why. And if you haven't already, please like the channel, please subscribe to the channel so we can beat this algorithm because it's beating us up right now. Also check the other videos we got out there. Check out the Rookie of the Year for the WNBA basketball with BigNige. Really good video that is not doing what it should be doing because it's very well done. Check out the video I did, farewell tour for LeBron. This will be his last year. I tell you all the reasons why. And so just keep helping us grow, and we'll keep providing you some crazy takes. Any parting words, BigNige?
You've hit them all, especially the crazy part. But appreciate y'all for pulling up to the live. Shout out Sports Talk Only, and even
definitely
Cassius Clay.
Cassius Clay, yeah, thanks for coming through.
Thanks, appreciate y'all for coming through and talking with us on the live. Appreciate y'all checking out the channel, helping us reach our 100 subscriber goal. Definitely keep supporting us. We're going to keep putting out great content for y'all. Just like you said, check out our last couple of videos. We really appreciate the support, and stay tuned for our next video.
And we might have a special guest next time. I don't think you'll be too fond of the person, but we'll see. We'll see if I can pull that out.
Bring one, bring all. It don't matter.
All right. Well, thank you guys for checking us out, and we'll be back next week with more NBA talk.
All right, y'all.